Today we're going to be looking at my top 10 picks for the current Season 4 meta. I just want to preface this by saying that I'm primarily a Rebirth player, so all the weapons that you will see today, I primarily use on Rebirth, and they work best on Rebirth Island. I mean, these weapons might work well in Standard Battle Royale as well, but I don't have experience with that, so I can't preach that. I'm just going to be talking about Rebirth Island today. But just before we get started with today's video, if you are new around here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you are seeing more Warzone content or multiplayer or even Next Defiance, I've got it all here. So let's get started with probably my favorite weapon at the moment in Warzone. And it's probably not going to be what you're expecting. I have talked about it a few times here on the channel. It's the STB556. I talked about this in my previous best classes video. I've also made a dedicated video to this weapon specifically, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this build, but here it is on screen. If you want to check out that dedicated video, I'll leave a link down in the description below. But yeah, I swear by this gun, man. It's so good. The damage on it, the range, just everything about it is so nice. It has a really easy to control recoil pattern. The damage range on it is surprisingly good for a Modern Warfare 2 weapon. It only has 42 rounds, which I would say is probably the biggest downside. But paired up with the STB, I have the Superi 46. I don't know how the fuck you pronounce it. This is the brand new SMG that got released for Season 4. Here on screen is the build that I use. So obviously we've got the long barrel for the extra damage range, the Zem compensated flash hide, you know by now why. DR6 hand stop, just get that movement up. The 40 round mag, which is unfortunately the highest one you can get, but it's a pretty low fire rate weapon anyway, so it's not that important. And then we've got the Rescue 9 stock. Now alternatively, if you have it, you can swap this to the Jack Cutthroat. This basically makes it that your strafe speed is insanely quick. If I show you guys here, the base version of this weapon has insane strafe speeds anyway, but with this stock, which increases it, this is the ADS speed. I mean, it's insane. If you just want to run around and strafe with this thing, I highly recommend using this stock. I mean, as you can see, the iron sights are incredibly clean on this gun. The recoil pattern isn't too crazy. It's also got really good range, and the fire rate is a little bit slower, so you have to be pretty accurate with it. But yeah, overall, I highly recommend using this weapon if you haven't already. Next up, my second favorite weapons at the moment, we got the Bruin MK9 for the assault rifle. This is once again a weapon that I swear by. I think it's so underrated, the Bruin. Once again, this is one that I've talked about in a previous best classes video, but just in case you haven't seen it, this is my setup on screen. Obviously we've got the cases breaking, the Bruin heavy support just for that recoil control, the longest barrel on there for the damage range and bullet velocity, 60 round mag because we don't really need 100 rounds to be honest, and then the Jack Glasses optic, which is my preferred red dot for my assault rifles. Alternatively, you could use something like where is it? It should be favorited. This one here, the Quarters Classic Reflex. I really like this red dot. It's so nice, but the Jack Glasses I think is just king. Next up, we have the FGX Horus, which I think is a bit of a newcomer this season because when it first came out, it was a bit weak, but it's gotten a buff now and it's a lot better. We've got the Martis Heavy Barrel here for the recoil control because the recoil on this thing is pretty nutty. Then we've got the Castle Comp Muzzle, the DR6 hand stop, 48 round mag, and I personally use a reflector on this. The Mark III reflector is my close range red dot sight, so I've got the Jack Glasses for my assault rifles, LMGs, and then the Mark III reflector is my sort of short range one. Alternatively, if you want to, you can take this sight off and I don't know, maybe slap on a stock. If you're struggling with the recoil control, you could go with this one here, the Lopper LXD, or alternatively, if you want some more ADS speed, maybe the Modus 30 stock. Could go maybe with the laser sight. This one here is going to get you the most ADS speed you can. Ammunition, rear grip, anything you want really. It's kind of down to preference. I would recommend the high grain rounds, but I don't think there's enough of a benefit on here to actually warrant using it. I mean, you can see it goes from 10.2 meters to 11.7, so it's not a huge increase. But these are the iron sights on this. I don't really like it because I feel like the visual recoil kind of fucks you with it, but that's why I use a Mark III reflector on it. If you, like I say, if you want to use a stock or rear grip, you're more than welcome to. I mean, at the end of the day, this video is just here for recommendations. This is just a general build you can use on this weapon. You can sort of mess around with it to your preference. Next up, we've got another new weapon here, which is actually returning from the original Warzone, the Kar 98K. This is, at the moment, my favorite sniper rifle to use on Rebirth Island. The setup we've got on here is the, that long barrel. We've got the sonic suppressor on there, the high grain rounds, the range cooler optic, which is actually the original optic from Warzone 1 with the reticle. And then we've got for the recon sling. Now, the reason I've gone for the recon sling is the flinch resistance. This sling is actually great because it gives you a 50% increase in your flinch resistance, which is huge for sniping. If you're somebody who wants to go for ADS speed, then the target sling would probably be your best bet, or maybe even a laser sight. But if we look at the advanced stats here, the effective damage range for this thing is 85.9 meters, which is a about perfect for Rebirth Island. We've also got the minimum damage range here at 120 meters. So if your opponent is on, say, 2 plates instead of 3, you should be able to still land a one-shot headshot, which is really great. And then the bullet velocity at 985, which is an incredible bullet velocity to have. ADS speed is 429, but I'm personally not somebody who quick scopes on Rebirth Island. I'll actually snipe properly. So again, if you want more ADS speed, then you're more than welcome to mess around with this. Maybe slap on a laser sight instead of the high grain rounds, or a different sling. It's up to you completely. Sniper support this season, I've been running the MCW with the conversion kit. So we got the Jack Raven kit, 40 round mag, DR6 hand stop, the Cyclone barrel, and the Mark III reflector. This is a great sniper support weapon because it's just a perfect all-rounder. It's got mobility, it's got range, it's got damage. It's just all around a great weapon to use. It's got an effective damage range of 23 meters, which is I think above average for an SMG, which once again is great for sniper support. It's also got a decent mobility. Again, probably around about average for an SMG, I'd say. But yeah, overall this weapon feels great. You can use it as an SMG if you want to, but I prefer it for sniper support. You know, short to medium range is where I'd use this thing. It's not going to be beating SMGs at very close range, but it sort of beats it at that medium range, so that's why I like using this as sniper support. Another assault rifle here, we've got the SVA 545. It did catch a nerf with Season 4, but I still think it's a solid weapon to use. In tap fire, it's got 0 recoil still, so this is the build I'd use here. We've got for the Jack Glass Assault here, the 60 round mag, Bruin heavy support grip, sonic suppressor, and the precision barrel. Once again, we're building it for range and accuracy. If I'm being honest, you probably could afford to swap the heavy support grip for maybe the high grade rounds just to get, what is it, a 15% increase your damage range, which is a decent bonus. If not, you could always go for a laser sight, but I wouldn't really recommend it on assault rifle because you're going to be aiming them down sights a lot, and that's obviously that laser sight is going to show up. Alternatively, you could go for a rear grip, maybe this one here, the North, maybe even the Citadel grip if you want to maximize your ADS speed, because this one only loses your flinch resistance. Again, it's entirely up to you. Just, you know, use this as a general skeleton. Don't follow this exactly. And then paired with that is a real arsehole class. This is the Lockwood Mark IIs with the Jack Wall and conversion kit. If you want to be a complete arsehole in Rebirth Island, this is for you. Now, unfortunately, we're restricted on a lot of attachment slots. We can't use a stock, a comb, a lever, a guard, an underbarrel, or a barrel. So that leaves us with an optic, ammunition, muzzle, and laser sight, which it's quite annoying. You can't use that many attachments, but I can understand why. So all you really need is the Jack Warden's kit, the SAMX50 suppressor, and the hip shot laser. You can go with an optic if you really want to, or you can use incendiary rounds, but I personally don't. Now, my final class setup here, we're going to speed through because this is actually the previous season's meta. They both did catch a nerf this season, but you can still use them. They're both very viable. This is the DGLMG. Again, I'm just going to speed through this because you've probably seen this setup already, but this is what I use. And then the Striker 9 here, again, nothing different. If you used it in Season 3, it's going to be the same in Season 4, just a little bit weaker. Now we're going to go with my honorable mentions, which I believe has potential within this meta, but it's not something that anybody's talking about. This is the ISO Hemlock from Modern Warfare 2. Now, when Modern Warfare 2 was the main game, we didn't have Modern Warfare 3. I loved using this weapon in Warzone. I thought it was so fun. And I have messed around with it a little bit in this Warzone, but I haven't used it enough to definitively say if it's really good or not, which is why I've put it here in the honorable mention section. So we've gone with the Jack Glasses optic, the 45 round mag, high grain rounds, sonic suppressor, and the fielder barrel. Obviously, once again, maximizing that damage range. I personally don't feel like you need a kind of grip or anything on this, but if you want to, you can swap out the high grain rounds for a Bruin support grip. But once again, personally, I don't think the recoil is too crazy on this thing. And then finally here, we've gone with the Ram 9. Once again, I don't think this is going to be top tier meta, which is why it's in the honorable mention section. But here I've gone with the Zem compensated flash hider, the hand stop, the high grain rounds, 50 round mag, and the hunker stock. If you want to use a sight on this thing because you don't like the iron sights, then I'll probably swap out the stock for, I don't know, a Mark III reflector or something. But I don't mind the iron sights. I think they're pretty usable on this gun. But anyway, that's going to do it for today's video. So thank you guys very much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new around here, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.